call vote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the board members by alphabetical order, and they are going to state the candidate that they are voting for. Any candidates that get 0 votes or are the lowest, if there's a lowest vote getter, that candidate or candidates would be removed from the next round of voting. So in order to become the person that gets appointed, you have to have 5 board votes. It has to be the majority of the board members present. So 4-4 would not close this. There's no tiebreaker. It's got to be among the sitting board members. So, okay, board, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Nikki?
Davis.
Rich?
Curran.
Eric?
Curran.
Mike?
Davis.
Dylan?
Curran.
Terry?
Davis.
Phil?
Amaker.
I'm sorry?
Amaker.
Okay, I have 3 for Davis, 3 for Curran.
I didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to vote?
You want to vote? I'm just saying, I mean, it's fine, if you're good, I'm good.
Well, apparently we don't have, you know what? Yeah, you know what, Teresa, I don't think we put you on here because we thought you weren't coming, but
Oh,
Teresa,
that is true.
please vote.
Curran.
Okay, 4 for Curran, 3 for Davis, 1 for Amaker. So, April, thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you all, thank you
so
all.
much, all of you.
Jamie, thank you. Okay. Reverend, thank you very much. Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
And then the lowest vote getter, I don't know, as we talked about, was the one with the lowest vote, and doesn't it take Jen out then too? Jennifer?
Because theoretically, the vote could just be the same.
It could be the same, that's the, yes. So, thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. This is-
Okay, so we have 2 candidates, Jim and Mike. So we'll go and we'll do another roll call vote with those 2 candidates. Nikki,
Davis.
Rich,
Curran.
Eric,
Curran.
Mike,
Davis.
Dylan,
Curran.
Terry,
Davis.
Phil,
Davis.
Teresa.
Curran.
Okay, so we have a 4-4 tie.
Rock, paper, scissors, or what now?
No, I'll take 6. This is a 4-4 tie, so Mike, you had asked before, you know, if the board wants to have some discussion, this would be an appropriate time for that.
Yeah,
So, so who wants to be recognized to speak first?
I would speak first.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
So for me, it really came down to, you were all exceptional again.
Yeah.
I had a top 3, and it was Curran, Davis, and Jamie. And between Mike Davis and Mr. Curran, a couple things, Jim, that I caught that kind of swayed me to Mike was, you spoke about the opportunity cost for you is extremely high. So giving up the time with your children. And then you spoke earlier that the reason you were here was out of concern for who was going to stand up, and you were very happy with the quality of the individuals that came. So to me, that led me to go with Mike because he is retired. You know, that's what swayed me to Mike over you, and that's why I would continue to choose Mike over you because that opportunity cost is going to be very high for you. And I think you acknowledged that you were happy with the other people at the table.
Anybody else on the board?
I'll speak.
Nikki?
So my top three were Curran, Davis, and Amaker. And I had very similar thoughts. So I hope you'll think of when your kids get a little older, please run. Because I think everybody here tonight would be fantastic additions, and I would take you in a heartbeat. But I know the commitment that we have, that we're facing, and I don't want you to miss a minute of the little kiddos either. So please, though, share your ideas as we go through this, because that doesn't mean that just because you're not one of the 9, doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. But that's very similar to why I chose Mike.
I would echo the same sentiment, and also that Mike had board experience previously on another school board was one of the other reasons why he was my top candidate.
And I would argue that there's not a bad decision here, right? It's just all degrees of good. Like, that's in my opinion. And I would say, kind of conversely to that, I was led to Jim. I think, Mike, you have tons of experience and would absolutely be incredibly valuable. And actually is something Jamie said, like, who's gonna round out the board? And we don't have anybody on our current board that has kids that are not yet in school. And so I think that's a valuable piece that we as a board are missing that Jim offers. And they're right. I mean, it's a time commitment, and I would assume you know that going in, what the time commitment is. But that is just an element of our board that we don't have. So I think that's an important community perspective.
Would anybody else like to?
Everybody's making some good points. I just want to also highlight, Mr. Curran served on the Equity Committee, which is a big push for us. And as far as the time commitment, like Teresa's daughter's birthday, she's here. I mean, I've got 4 kids. I mean, we all make sacrifices, so I don't hold that against you. But yeah, it's a good point that you have kids coming up, so the decisions you make will make, affect their lives greatly, so.
All right, are we ready for another vote then? Okay, so we'll do the third vote.
And then what?
Nikki,
Davis.
Right?
Rich,
Curran.
Eric,
Curran?
Mike,
Davis.
Dylan,
Curran.
Terry,
Davis.
Phil,
Davis.
Teresa.
Current. So
Seriously.
4-4.
What do we
So
do?
then, yeah, that's our process.
Sure.
Yep.
Can we ask the remaining candidates additional questions?
So, yes, as long as we ask the candidates the same question. I'll allow that. So what'll happen is we can vote, we can have some more discussion. We can allow an additional question to be asked. If we continue to get a tie after 3 to 5 rounds, then what would happen is the president of the school board would appoint somebody to the school board. So, Mike, do you know what you want to ask?
Trying to think of how I can phrase this. So it's more directed at one individual, but I want to make a question that,
All right, while you're thinking about it, let me get these guys to do for order. Okay. Rich, can you see behind my back? Okay,
Oh, gosh.
yes. Okay.
Oh, the order. of
Mike,
how they
would you guess?
Does that one count?
No.
Okay, all right.
All right. So I'd like you to guess either a 1 or a 2.
Number 1.
Go ahead.
Well, I gotta get
Yeah. It's a 2. All right. You win. Okay. All right, so Mike, do you have it?
I guess, I just, now that we're down to just two candidates, you've heard each other speak. I guess I'd like to re-ask, what do you believe makes you the best candidate for the Board of Education?
Well, after how I navigated the 1 or 2 situation. I mean, I'll be totally honest. I think Mike would be phenomenal. And so, the answer to your question is I'm not totally sure.
That was my answer.
And actually, I don't think I want to arm wrestle him for it either. But, no, I think we bring different things. You know, just from having, I went to school here in Monroe with Mike's daughter, and I don't know Mike that well, but what I was compelled by in hearing him talk is the breadth of experience that he's had both as a leader professionally and then as an elected leader. And that's experience that I do not have. And so I think I understand what the time commitment is, but do I, I don't understand as well as Mike does, just to be totally clear. And I think, I grew up in Monroe and have lived and worked predominantly in communities that are very different from Monroe. And I've worked in education, and so I bring a particular perspective that has been inside the educational system and now works in education. I work in education, but I'm not actually employed by a school district. And so I won't try to repeat anything that I've already named for you all. I think the answer is I don't know that I am the best candidate for the job. I'd be thrilled if you chose Mike too, but I think what the last thing I'll say is that we have to be able to dream into something different. We have to resist the pull to keep doing kind of what's always been done in education. That's why I want to be in the room tonight. And even if that kind of leaves you with something and I don't end up on the board, I'm content with that. But we have to look at this and say something radically different is possible in Monroe, Wisconsin. And we want people to look at this community and say, that is where I want to move because that's how good the schools are. And a new high school is a part of that, but it's actually not all of it. Right? What matters is the experience and the outcomes that we get for kids and with families. And a school can be an important catalyst. It can bring people together. But I think we bring different things. I'll pause there.
Okay.
Not sure what to say. No, I think Jim was right. I think our experiences are totally different. We are of different generations, no question about it. The last time I remember seeing Jim, he was still a little kid. And all of a sudden, he's talking and, did an excellent job. I think he would be a very good candidate. But I think the time commitment is one thing that you really do need to think about. Being retired, I do have that opportunity. The only thing that really would, take up any time for me right now would be anything involved with grandkids or stuff like that. And they're far enough away, and there are so many events going on right now that we can't make all of them anyway. So, I am going to be there. There's no question about it. As I said in my earlier talks, I have a passion for the schools, always have. My time on the Monroe School Board, I truly, truly enjoyed that. I took over, selected as the vice president, and I was really looking forward to taking over as the president and leading that whole building facilities that we had up there. Fortunate or unfortunate, I had to give that up and then come to Monroe. One of the best moves that I've ever made in my life. I love the community. And as I said before, I think the heart and soul of the community is the school. I know what it takes to run a large business, how to deal with multi-million-dollar budgets, how to run a maintenance plan. I did that for the last 10 years that I was employed and ran maintenance on the entire electrical systems for Alliant Energy in Wisconsin and in Iowa. So we had to budget the dollars, we had to track it, we had to make sure that the work got done, and we were held accountable if it didn't happen. And that's where I think a lot of the things those traits would carry over and help me to help lead some of the areas in, while in the school board or on the school board. You know, I'm like Jim, I don't know everything about it. There's a lot of things that I would still have to learn or relearn from what I knew before. But I do have tons of connections in education. You know, simply phone calls away to what's going on in other districts. If we need to talk to certain people, I have the ability to do a lot of that. I'm certainly not afraid to face tough decisions. I've had to do that for 44 years. And believe me, it's not easy when you start in a lot of those discussions. So I feel that I can handle that. But I'm with Jim. I think you guys can't make a bad decision no matter which way you go. It's just going to be up to you, whichever you think fits your needs the best for the next year and then after that. To be honest, I have all intentions, if things go right, I have all intentions in running in another year. Whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know. Another year, you may not want me on there if you select me. I don't know. But, you know, I guess that's just one of the things that I'll throw out there also, that is an opportunity. So, but like I said, with Jim, did an outstanding interview, is an outstanding individual. And I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Thank you. Okay, board, any additional discussion before we take round 4 vote? Okay. Nikki,
Davis.
Rich,
Davis.
Eric,
Curran.
Mike,
Curran.
Dylan, Terry,
Davis.
Phil,
Davis.
Teresa,
Curran.
So we're
4-4.
Strike it up one more time, please, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we're gonna vote one more time again for additional discussion unless somebody has something more to add.
So I will add, my biggest concern, Jim, with why I was voting for Davis was, you know, with the children and the statements you made about opportunity cost and then the reason you were here is because the other people on the board kind of led me to believe that you weren't necessarily concerned about being part of the board. So I was trying to, out of that last question, kind of get from you how interested you were, whether it was I was just kind of here so that the other people, you know, so I could guarantee that, you know, there was quality applicants for the board. And so that's why that last question and the discussion we had made me switch my vote back to you, because you were my first choice because of your work with, you know, the hard districts. He's got that background in, you know, low-income, high-minority school districts that I think would be very, very helpful from a different perspective than I think any of us on the board might have. Not that I know all of your experience very well, but I think that would be a great help. And as Mr. Ekdahl here pointed out, you know, equity is a important piece to what this district is looking for, so.
Any other board members have any comments? Okay, let's do one more round of votes here. Nikki,
Davis.
Rich,
Curran.
Eric,
Curran.
Mike,
Curran.
Dylan,
Curran.
Terry,
Curran.
Phil, Teresa.
Curran.
Curran has 6 votes. That would be the majority. So, Jim, you will will be the appointment for the Board of Education. Congratulations. So, Cindy, do you have the oath? So Jim, we're gonna swear you in right away here. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, yes.
Great experience.
Will you run next year?
See you in April.
Will you run in April?
Yeah. You're gonna run in April? That'll be great.
I'll let you know. That's open for discussion now.
This might have been, this was definitely more difficult than running in the
This is, I've been involved with elections several years and that, yeah. Good luck. Thank you, guys, and good luck.
Jim,
Got some major moves ahead.
I'll swear you in. All right, if you wanna raise your right hand. I state your name.
Yeah, yeah,
Having been appointed
yeah,
for the school district of Monroe, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Glad you're here.
Brian, Brett.
I am really glad you're here.
First meeting is next week, Monday.
We need you to sign
Thank you.
Jim, yeah, you have to sign it before I notarize it.
Teacher to sign here. And don't take off, we have to take your picture.
And the youngest one, the youngest daughter, the youngest daughter, I'm There's all, I mean, there's all.
Don't take
Me
off.
too.
Yeah, no, we're shaking hands.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Oh, my.
As the voting is going on, you're wondering, what did I get myself into? So, what do you, for this week?
Should we?
Oh, no, this is for the website now.
Sorry.
We need to adjourn.
Yes, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.